Hello everybody and welcome to the ADL All-Stars League Week 2 Spotlight. This week we are covering Sebxy of the Mexico City Holocub versus Phenix of the Pembroke Palafins. I'm running solo today because Toxic fucking abandoned me for Marvel Rivals is what I'm seeing on my other screen here. So if you're watching this, be sure to DM him and tell him that Marvel Rivals is not more important than this league. But aside from that, we're going to get into it. So I've got Phenix on the right and Sebxy on the left here. Phenix with his buffed rain mode after the trades that he made between week 1 going into week 2. With the additions of that Serena and Kin Gambit there, making his rain team look much better than it did before. And I think that now that Swampert and Pelipper rain mode is much more strong with the supporting pieces around him. Sebxy with bringing Stunfisk, which is a wild bring. Sinistra, Basculegion, Scrafty, his Mega Mawile, and his Dragonite. We're going to get into it here. I kind of favor Phenix's matchup over Sebxy's, but I'm not for sure on that. So we'll see how this unfolds here. Okay, so for Phenix's lead, we see his Raichu and his Kin Gambit. And then on Sebxy's lead, we see Dragonite, Basculegion. Not a bad lead for either person here. I think you're seeing a lot of pressure into this Basculegion here, so Sebxy might want to pivot it out. This Raichu obviously capable of Megaing here if he wanted it to. Protecting the Basculegion. Blocks the Sucker Punch, good job. Raichu nuzzle into the Dragonite to para that Dragonite, slow things down a bit. Dragonite using Tailwind, so you're net neutral on speed, but you do still have that chance of just doing nothing because of your paralysis, so that is going to be something to see here as well. I just think this Basculegion is under a lot of pressure, and I don't know if it's dealing a lot in return, so I feel like a swap might be necessary. But depending on what you have in the back, you don't want to do that either, obviously. You don't want to get Kowtow Cleaver, you don't want to get nuzzled and stuck into whatever, but we do see him swap the Basculegion out here into Scrafty, which is going to proc Defiant on the Kin Gambit. But Kin Gambit not getting to move just yet because he's trying to target down that Basculegion. Another nuzzle into another slot, so he's got 2 Paradmons on the field here. Body Press Dragonite, and that is a good chunk too. Not a bad bring from Sebxy. Okay, well, let's see. Phenix does have the capability of Megaing this Raichu. However, if I had to guess, I'm going to think he's got Swampert, Pelipper in the back, and he's probably wanting to save that Mega for his Swampert. Though he could just rip Mega Raichu X here and go to town. I don't know if that's really what he wants to do here. This Kin Gambit's not in a very good spot, even with that Defiant boost. I mean, a Sucker Punch would do a lot of damage, but yeah, it makes sense to swap it there. And then out comes Pelipper. 100% accurate Thunder into the Dragonite. Does nothing. Body Press also does nothing into the Pelipper. Hoping to hit that Kin Gambit. Drain Punch, not bad damage into Raichu. Thankfully, no paras on Sebxy's end, which is good for him. Although now here, I bet you Phenix can probably match Tailwind and be guaranteed going faster than these Mons in front of him. Or he could just swap his Swampert out, Mega Swampert, and go to town as well. He's being awfully stubborn with this Raichu here. Did a bit more. Hurricane blocked. Trailblaze Scrafty, that's interesting. So we've seen a Body Press Dragonite and a Trailblaze Scrafty on Sebxy's end. So he's bringing some sauce here. There's some different moves that I would not expect to see off the top of my head here. I guess the question right now is, what does Phenix want to do? You got a Raichu that's really not sitting here doing anything. Another Thunder. I mean, the chip is nice. I just don't feel like you're putting off that much pressure. That's going to hurt the Scrafty. It's going to kill the Scrafty. Okay. Suddenly I don't mind this Raichu's position anymore. I think you're fine to just rip Thunders until it dies and then bring in your Swampert. Although a Last Respect from this Basculegion would definitely kill Raichu at this point. It would probably kill Pelipper too. It might not kill Pelipper. It might be pretty fucking close. Flip turn. That kills Raichu. That's nice. That does open up Swampert to come out and Mega for free, though. Avoiding any damage on the Switch It. So that's good. And he matches Tailwind with Pelipper, which is good. Makes things a little harder for his Dragonite here. That did a lot of damage. In comes the Swampert. I expect we'll see it Mega take full use of that Swift Swim and probably a ground move into the Mawile, or it could be like an Ice Punch into the Dragonite. Either seems fine here. I think Phenix is in a much better position than Sebxy at the current moment, but Sebxy's certainly not out of this here. Okay, so here comes Mega Swampert and Mega Mawile. Both mods megaing on the field here. Okay. Sucker Punch. Does a pretty good chunk into Swampert. This high horsepower is gonna OHKO the Mawile. So that is it for Mega Mawile on this field, and it's looking pretty grim for Sebxy in game 1 here. And down goes the Dragonite. Yeah, that should be wraps, and that should be game 1 for Phenix. Very well played on Phenix's end. Saving that Mega in the back until the very end was super smart. And I was a little critical of the Raichu there, but honestly, looking back on it, just letting it sit there and rip Thunders really wasn't too bad at all. You got a Dragonite down to a critical health. Last Respects, yeah, probably kill Swampert, but at this point, with Kingambit in the back, I don't think it super matters. Yeah, Sucker Punch should just kill. And Tailwind down, so you can't even out priority him. Yeah, this should just be in Phenix's favor for game 1. Alright. GG's to Phenix for game 1. Like I said, putting that pressure on with Raichu was really nice. Leaving Swampert in the back to clean up was super good as well. Just kind of left Sebxy with nothing to do by the end of the game, even with Basculegion and that souped up Last Respects. There's just really not a ton you can do when you've got a Kingambit in the back like that. So super well played on Phenix's part. So I guess the question now is, if you're Sebxy, what do you do to adjust for game 2? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but your Mawile just seems kind of not well positioned in this matchup specifically. I mean, Swampert kind of slays it. I feel like, depending on the coverage it has, Drampa kind of slays it. Raichu's doing good neutral damage into it. I don't know if Mawile is really your bring here. And actually, I'm not sure if I'm mistaken. Does he have Mega Scrafty? I think it's Mega Scrafty. Drive. Let's see, I'm checking my notes here. No, he has Raichu Y. He didn't even bring his secondary Mega, so his only Mega option is Mawile, but it just feels so rough to bring here. Feels like it gets countered pretty well by what Phenix has. Phenix pivots, brings in Serena Raichu, and then we go to Scrafty, Sinistcha on Sebxy's side. So both teams made really good adjustments here. Serena has White Herb, okay. Interesting. What is the White Herb for on Serena? I don't know. This is still scary because Sinistcha can't redirect away anything that Serena is going to do, and I'm not quite sure what it can do, but I think Serena has Play Rough, so that would be pretty bad into a Scrafty. Phenix also has Fake Out pressure here, so he could just keep this Scrafty from doing anything, rip a Play Rough, right? Triple Axle, okay. That's also pretty dang good. Only 2 hits, though. So the Sinistcha lives the turn and sets up Trick Room. Ooh, this is interesting. Okay. Suddenly it looks a little better for Sebxy here. I was thinking that position was more Phenix's favor, but that live on Sinistcha is super big here. Shadow Ball into the Serena. It's good damage. Drain Punch. That's also pretty decent damage. But Serena just Play Rough. Should just kill the Scrafty. Yeah. Thought he would do it a turn ago. Thunder misses. No rain up, so that missed chance is very real here still. Mawile, which, you know, I guess you have to, but it's just a hard bring. Both coaches are locking into their moves pretty fucking fast here too. It seems like they both know what they need to do pretty much immediately, whether it's good or bad for them. They're not spending much time thinking about what they have to do. They kind of have their plays logged in their heads already, which is cool to see. Mawile Megas. Serena protects, makes sense. Iron Head block into Serena, which is good. How much does that do to Mawile? More than I'd like for it to do, to be quite honest. And Stunfisk is on the field, ladies and gentlemen. What is this Stunfisk gonna do here? It kind of gets slapped around by Serena a good bit. Oh, Serena goes down to the Iron Head, which is good for Sebxy. And while Trick Room is up, Sebxy is actually at the speed advantage here, so he could do some heavy damage into this Swampert before it could even move on him, and he does still have Sinistcha alive in the back, so there are still plenty of options for him here. Let's see. Protect on the Pelipper. Does he swap into Sinistcha here at all? No. Earth Power. Makes sense. That's a good fucking chunk onto Swampert, actually. Holy shit. Oh, it's a Life Orb Stunfisk. Play Rough. Protects. Okay. Oh, and Trick Room is over. So then this is going to be a little rough here, I think. I thought he had more Trick Room turns. Because now this Swampert could just Wave Crash and kill the Stunfisk if he wanted, but he could also just high horsepower and kill the Mawile. There's just too much pressure coming from this Mega Swampert here, and I don't know how Sebxy deals with it, especially without Trick Room up. Protect makes sense. Went for the Wave Crash into the Stunfisk. Good call by Phenix. Yeah, and there goes Stunfisk. That Stunfisk ripped a casual 50% damage into that Swampert, though. That was kind of cool. Okay. Hospitality boost into Mawile is very nice. I guess the question is, do we think the Sinistcha can live the turn to set Trick Room? I think the answer is probably no. I think he probably has to just redirect and then rip an attack into the Swampert, although that's such a telegraphed play. Phenix might just read it and go for a Protect. Okay, does the Hurricane kill the Sinistcha? It does. Okay, so I think this game is probably over. Player from the Pelipper. Sash Pelipper. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up here, but let's see if Sebxy has some inner machinations. Kills the Swampert. Hurricane probably doesn't kill from this range. Oh, interesting. This might actually not be over. Because he just protects here, right? To protect to absorb the fake out turn, and then you Sucker Punch into the Pelipper, or you full send into the Raichu? I mean, really, actually, you probably just full send into the Raichu, considering the damage that Hurricane's doing. Okay. And then rain stops, which means those Hurricanes are no longer 100% accurate either. Actually, Sebxy still has some things he can do here. I was counting him out a little too early. But getting rid of that Swampert while you still could was a definitely smart move, because now this Mawile is actually relatively uncontested. I still think he's at a disadvantage here, but he could bring it back if he was able to target down the Raichu and then deal with the Pelipper the turn after, because those Hurricanes were not doing much damage at all. Let's see here. Protect onto the Raichu does make sense. Oh, but Sebxy called it and went for the Sucker Punch into the Pelipper, so it removes damage coming in from Pelipper's side, removes the ability to set Tailwind back up later. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. How much does this Thunder do? Not enough to kill. If Sebxy kills with this Play Rough, we're going to a game 3, folks. Holy shit. Alright, I will write my apology letter to Mega Mawile in this matchup. It actually did just fine, and Sebxy pivoted that masterfully. Wow, I honestly thought it was over once it came down to just Mawile, but Sebxy knew what mons he had to prioritize, which ones had to die. He made the correct Protect call there. I mean, very, very good on his end. Alright, going into game 3. So I guess now you kind of got to get into the mind of both of these players, because you look at Phenix's matchup, he's got at least on paper, a better matchup. As long as he can navigate around the Sinistcha, he's in a pretty good spot. with his rain mode. He can outspeed really well. He's got priority pressure with King Gambit. Raichu is putting out crazy kinds of pressure with Fake Out and Thunder. Sinistcha was no slouch in Game 2 either, but you also have it on Sebxy's end where now he knows if he plays that Mawile right, he could just kill most of Phoenix's Mons seemingly in one hit, maybe two, depending on what you hit it into. And if you're targeting right and you're getting the right calls, you should be able to stop this Swampert before it can tear down the rest of your team. So I'm wondering what goes through his head here. I wonder if we see the Stunfisk show up again. The Stunfisk did not do too bad, and it actually looks pretty good here. Ground Stab kind of rips through some threats. It's good into Pelipper. Alright, game 3. King Gambit Pelipper for Phenix. Dragonite Basculegion for Sebxy. Okay. So Basculegion is not in as bad of a spot as it was game 1, but I still think just facing down the King Gambit, you got a lot of pressure on this Basculegion, and it doesn't feel safe to leave your Basculegion in here, especially something with such a powerful stab that you want to save till the end of the game. Yeah, probably a flip turn or a hard switch, and a hard switch makes more sense because of the Sucker Punch pressure. Sending Mawile in now is super nice. Reading the Sucker Punch. Tailwind goes up from Pelipper. Body Press from Dragonite into the King Gambit. So kind of a similar game state to what we had at the beginning of Game 1. So let's see how they navigate it from here. The difference is I feel like this Mawile is in a much better position to kind of rip through what's left of that King Gambit or bring that Pelipper down to Sash. You're putting so much pressure onto this King Gambit with Body Press Dragonite. Does he really keep the King Gambit in here anyway? Out comes the Mega Mawile. Hurricane into the Dragonite. Sure. Iron Head. Pretty good chunk in a Mawile. Tailwind goes out from Dragonite. Ooh, and the flinch on Mawile. That's not good. Not good at all. There's still a lot of pressure on this King Gambit to just kind of get body pressed. Maybe his play here is to just... Ooh, Sucker Punch there. Does a pretty good chunk into Dragonite. Hurricane. Oh, so he doubled Dragonite. He was probably calling the Protect on Mawile's end, but Sebxy didn't go for it, seemingly. He called that Phenix would call the Protect, so there's a lot of mind games going here, and they're going very positively for Sebxy, I might add. Play rough into the King Gambit. Should just kill it. Sebxy is doing a very, very good job of reading Phoenix's calls, and he's doing a really good job of positioning this Mawile for the final kills that he needs to whittle down Phoenix's Mons. This is actually a super, super interesting match to watch right now. It might be my contender for Match of the Week, just seeing the calls that Sebxy's making here. Okay, in comes the Swampert. No doubt it Megas here for the Swift Swim boost. What does Sebxy do about that here? Does he just protect to eat a hit? The Dragonite's in such a bad spot, though, is the thing. I don't know if it can really do much here if it's targeted. But I also think if you're Phoenix, you really want to get rid of this Mawile. But are you calling that it protects here? You're not calling that it protects here. And the Ice Punch into the Dragonite. Okay, so Dragonite goes down. And Serena on the field is not super good for Sebxy because you can't put out any Sucker Punch pressure. Very, very interesting game we have here, folks. So what comes out next? I doubt you bring out Basculegion in this state, right? Isn't it just, do you bring out Sinistra? Do you have Sinistra in the back? Is it Stunfisk that I'm about to see? Scrafty. That makes more sense considering what else with the other three on the board. And the Intimidate drop is super nice into the Swampert. I still sincerely doubt that it lives a high horsepower from this health, but you do have Fake Out Pressure from Scrafty if he brought Fake Out on it. We haven't quite seen that yet. Oh, well, you actually don't have Fake Out Pressure because Serena's Queenly Majesty would block it, so this is still kind of tough for Sebxy here. Although, if Phenix isn't super serious about targeting down the Scrafty, he could get a couple good hits off into the Swampert. Not this turn because of the Protect. Oh, he forgot about the Queenly Majesty. Ooh, that sucks. Oh, but it lives. Ooh, that Intimidate drop. Oh, well, it didn't matter because it's neutral because of the Mental Herb. Maybe that is... That must be calced to live that on 1%. Or it was just an unfortunate roll on Phoenix's part. But now without Rain, Phenix is kind of forced to either swap... No, he's not at all. He just swings the high horsepower. And Mawile goes down. Play Rough kills the Scrafty. Ooh. Then I'm thinking this game might be over. Sebxy was doing really, really well with those reads for a while, though. I don't see how this Basculegion can 1v3. Well, I do, but it would require the Serena to not hit it at all. He'd have to miss his Power Whip. Or his Trop Kick. That makes sense. Okay, so he gets rid of that problem immediately. Maybe this Basculegion can 1v3 here. Ooh, it's close. Pelipper is on 1%, so it's an easy pickup. I guess the question is, can this Basculegion live like a Wave Crash from Swampert? Takes out the Pelipper. Oh, but the high horsepower misses! Ooh, the scales were balancing from that flinch earlier in the game. And Last Respect should go out into the Swampert. And it kills! Holy shit! I don't know if that crit mattered or not. I don't think it would have there, but wow. That is two examples in two games of Sebxy taking a 1v3 as Mon's backed into the wall, and he makes the perfect reads in order to navigate his way to victory there. Yeah, that high horsepower miss definitely helped, but it didn't look like it would have killed anyway by the looks of it. So I still think Sebxy was in a very good position there. He knew that wouldn't kill. He knew he could pressure the damage onto the Pelipper and then force another Last Respects down onto Swampert before it could react and probably take the game. Wow. No, nothing more to say. Super good positioning on Sebxy's and clawing his way out from a corner. Nobody puts Sebxy in a corner is the quote of the week, folks, but very well played on both ends. Super well played by Phenix, getting Sebxy into that corner, putting him on the brink multiple times, but Sebxy navigating his way through that was insane. You gotta give him kudos on that one, folks. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Kudos to Sebxy. GG's. Good match to watch. Hope you all enjoyed the commentary, and we will be back hopefully with Toxic if he doesn't abandon me from Marvel Rivals in Week 3. See ya.